Hello sisters, this video I want to talk about the wounded feminine again, and we've done so many videos on the wounded feminine, but it's just something that just keeps coming around and around in different forms because our feminine essence, our feminine core has been sorely wounded in a number of ways. So in this video I really want to kind of major in and talk about the feminine wound in terms of how we are affected by patriarchy. Now, we know what patriarchy is. I'm hopeful that we all understand that. It's this sense of male domination over a woman's life in covert and overt ways, and it's on a sliding scale between the very, very subtle kind of control and heavy-handed kind of overbearingness. Sometimes that can be very subtle, right the way through to heavy domination, physical abuse, and abusive tactics to completely squash and crush everything in a woman's feminine essence, and to push our inner sheep down. We talked about that before when we talked about physical and sexual abuse. So this all kind of interlinks, and lots of what I say always kind of interlinks because we're all talking about the same thing but from slightly different angles. So patriarchy, I have to tell you the bad news. Unfortunately, patriarchy is here to stay, because until our brothers understand this, they are not going to change. So for some of us, we are called to help our brothers understand, and some are willing to hear it and some are not yet willing to hear what we need to have happen in their hearts so that life can be better for us. Okay, now there are a range of ways in which if we feel called to this cause, we can challenge this head on, and it might be to challenge individual males in appropriate ways. It might be to become a full-on feminist. It may be to just have the conversation and challenge individuals about discrimination and all of the rest of it. And I don't know what your bag is, and whatever you choose to put your best foot forward on, that is really for you to kind of determine in your own mind and heart. And I want to say that whatever you choose, I would support you 100%. So really, inside the heart of all of us beautiful girls, we have this deep, deep longing to be really seen, really heard, and really, really acknowledged. And we are great at doing that for each other and for ourselves. And that is why we have come together in a sisterhood, and we are raising and rising each other up, because we've recognised that this is a feminine need that we need to fulfill for ourselves in our own lives and for each other. And so we are pursuing that, and we are doing it for each other. But there's a wound here, because in our intimate relationships with men, with our fathers, with our brothers, with our life partners, who are not in this life space where they understand what a woman's needs are yet, this is what's creating a huge wounding. And I just feel that because we have a difficulty in communicating these thoughts to our menfolk, to help them understand in a way in which produces an outcome which is satisfactory to us. This is what causes a huge wound to our spirit and our soul and our feminine. And I just want to say that I'm totally with you on this, because I have experienced this quite a bit in my own life, where menfolk feel that they somehow are the leaders, the best, and that submission is something that a woman should give in every circumstance, even if he is in the wrong ultimately. And it is heartbreaking to not have your voice heard and your ideas recognised or validated, and to be proven right at the end of the process while he's gone off in a frustrated huff, right the way through to men feeling that they can take and use our bodies for their own gratification and pleasures. It's all part of the same idea that women are here to serve men. So really, what I want to I just wanted to talk about this because I wanted to bring clarification as to where this wound is coming from, and to talk about it in terms of our understanding that we need to feel really heard, really seen, and really acknowledged. Because for years and years and years, I've certainly have gone along saying, what is it that makes me feel so when these things happen in my life, and these things come in, and I have this huge response and reaction to it, and yet I can't really root why. And I know, like I said before, if I felt that way, I know that my sister's also feeling that way. So I just wanted to kind of bring this video to bring clarification on it. So I know that we want resolution on it. So what I want us to do, there's a couple of things we can do, like we already said, being a sisterhood together with our sisters who recognises and being that validation and that source of being really seen, really heard, and really validated, encouraged, acknowledged for each other is super, 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 super important, because we're not going to get it anywhere else. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I would like us to think about is to really set boundaries with our menfolk. For example, I have a chap in my life who sometimes gets angry to the point of white rage, and it's not something that I've done necessarily. And so my boundary is, if that happens, I'm going to down tools and completely walk away and have nothing to do, no engagement whatsoever with that anger, because I do not want that in my world, and I do not want that expression of patriarchy where I have to feel I have to submit to the fear that's coming out of that situation. So that's another thing. We need to find a way to communicate to our men through our boundaries, for sure. So we're going to have to use our creativity, like we talked about, one of our feminine superpowers is our creativity anyway, but we're going to have to work out a way of being very creative in how we communicate to men about what we do and we don't want, and how we're going to feel acknowledged and really seen and really heard, because words don't cut it with men. They don't seem to hear, and if they do hear, they receive it in a blameful way, because they have this inbuilt idea that they are stronger, better, and all the rest of it. And we don't want to take that necessarily away from them by saying that we are better and stronger. What we want to do is work in partnership more and have our own selves acknowledged and validated. I'm sure you understand what I mean now, and I'm starting to talk about this stuff. So I'm really interested into how we can kind of take this discussion further, because I don't have all the answers on this. I'm just identifying the fact that this exists, and this causes us a huge wound, and I just feel that, you know, things have got to change. As a sisterhood, we need to have a combined discussion and idea about how to tackle this corporately. I have heard of another group of women who are rising up together, and they are calling for example, no women to date men who use porn in any fashion. So imagine if we all banded together as women all over the world and said, if you use porn, I'm not coming anywhere near you. I'm going to leave you. Can you imagine how the behaviour would change? And it's that kind of thing that I'm kind of getting at, and that's kind of thing that I want to open the discussion up. I mean, that's just one area, and that's one aspect, and that does kind of touch on what I'm talking about a little bit. But I just want to open up our discussion, because this is a toughie, and this is something we clearly need to think about. In the meanwhile, I want to really hear, really see you, and really acknowledge your heart, because you are wonderful and you are loved. So please come and get in touch with us on our Facebook page, Heart Maidens, and I just love your hearts.